My name is Cato Hawes. I've been doing fire by friction with the bowl drill method for well over 50 years. Probably started well over 1,000 coals. I've been successful. I've been skunked a few times too. But I want to talk about the pieces to the bowl drill kit a little bit and then demonstrate it. I mean, you got your bow, that's where it gets its name. You got your spindle and baseboard. These two are kind of critical as to the type of wood. It should be a dry kind of a wood without pitch. Preferably fairly soft where you can indent it with your fingernail. I like a spindle about that size. About the size of my pinky. And a baseboard about the same thickness. This happens to be incense cedar from the lumberyard. If you can show me for a second, I'll talk about some of the other kind of woods. Cottonwood, obviously, sotol. Arizona has a lot of sotol. Those are real good woods and easy to use. You do not want to use ponderosa pine. We have a lot of ponderosa pine, but it's got a lot of pitch in it. And if you go to the trouble of drilling yourself a really hot bunch of sawdust, it will go out. The dust is too coarse or something, it will go out. You can use saguaro cactus rib, but on saguaro cactus rib, you don't want to apply a lot of pressure, because if you apply a lot of downward pressure, you're going to get big kernels of sawdust. That's bad. You want a finer dust, but it will work. Sycamore and aspen will both work. Aspen is a real good wood. Sycamore is a little on the hard side, but they share a common quality, and that is that the coal has to get to a fairly big size before it will generate on its own. I don't know why that is, but if you take an aspen spindle and baseboard, like say this right here, if it were aspen, and you were drilling on it with your bow, you'd be getting sawdust coming out here quite a long ways, and all of a sudden the whole thing would start smoking. So all I can say is if you're using aspen or sycamore, be patient and get yourself a fairly large chunk of sawdust. Now, the bow that I prefer is stiff bow, slightly curved. You could use a pliable, bendable bow, I guess, if you're lucky, because if your bow is too bendable, it will work fine when you pull it, but when you push it, you can see your string would loosen up. Even with this stiff bow, you may be able to tell that the string loosens up a little bit when you bend, when you flex that bow. So I prefer and recommend a stiff bow. Now the handpiece is a much neglected piece that is not talked about an awfully lot, but it should be. You want a frictionless handpiece. If you don't have a dime or a penny or something to embed in the bottom of your handpiece, at least make it flat bottomed like this. What you're after is a flat bottomed hole preferably in a branch that's a little bit green, not all dried out like this spruce board. But you want a flat bottomed hole. That's okay. That's all right. You got it backwards, don't you? No, you got it. Can you see me all right?
No, I can't see you.
Can you see this
Yes.
board? This spindle? It has a dome-shaped top. A dome-shaped top against something flat, it's just effortless to spin it. And that is what you want. You do not want a wedge-shaped spindle in a wedge-shaped hole. You're going to have friction that you can't even pull, especially when you have that on both ends, because on the other end you do want a lot of friction to create smoke. I carry one of these dimes in my essentials kit, so if I ever wanted a handpiece out in the wilderness, I'd be able to make one. Also, it's good to have a little money with you. So I've got it pretty well flat bottomed there, looking halfway decent, and my dime could be pounded down in there. So that's perfect. But I'm going to demonstrate this thing without putting a dime in it and show you how to use it and polish it without using a dime. The secret is, when you start using it, is to rock your hand around a little bit so that it polishes the whole area. All right, let's get this tied on here. On the bow, all I've got is a slip knot at this end, the far end, and here for the adjustment end, I'm going to use a clove hitch. You see that clove hitch? The clove hitch is easily tightened or easily loosened. I've got a groove there. If my groove is too deep, I can't adjust the string very well. If it's just right, I'm okay. Now this is a little loose, so let's tighten it up some. And I like to mark the top of my spindle so that I don't get confused. This is the bottom. It's been used before. It's kind of a pointed end. This is the top. It's a dome-shaped end and it's smooth. And I'm going to put a ring around this end so that I don't accidentally put it down. I like to mark the top with a ring. I could use a felt tip marker for this. All right, so that'll be the top. And there's the handpiece it's going to go into like that. Can you see how easily that's going to spin? There's no effort at all. Even though I push hard on it, there's no effort at all to spin that. And I want to keep it that way. Let's go over here, grab our knife, and let's go over here. And I'm going to lay my baseboard down. I made a baseboard notch already, even though usually I burn it in a little bit. Come down here where you can get in on that. I burn it in a little bit, usually before I start. But what I've done is I've cut a notch.
It's powering off.
Huh?
It's powering off.
It's powered off on you? How's that? Are you still filming?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think so.
You think so? Yeah, I think you're still filming. Yeah, I think you're still filming. So what I'm going to do is I am going to get in position here and see how well this works. That string isn't any too tight, but it should be all right. Before I start, this is the bottom end of my spindle. Make it flat at the point. You don't have to flatten the whole thing, but even better, make a little divot in the bottom. You do not want the bottom, you don't want your spindle bottoming out in the center. You want it to hit on the shoulders. Can you hear that? That is squeaking. That is indicating friction. Let's give it a shot. Push this over here where it won't cut my hand. Now, remember I said I'm going to rock my hand around a little bit. Can you hear that friction? It's not too much, it's just right. Rocking my hand around a little bit. Getting a little smoke. You can see it, can't you?
Yes.
And now I'm just going to go a little faster, maybe a little less pressure.
Oh, nice.
That's nice?
Yes.
Do you think it's developed a coal yet?
Yes, it looks like it's red.
It looks red? Does it?
I think so.
Yes, we've got a coal there. So, can you use a handpiece made out of wood? Yes, you can. Did I get a little blackening in there? Yes, I did. I wasn't rocking it around too much. So what I'll do is I'll work on that again and then put my dime in there so I can keep it for future trials. But this proves right here that you can make a wooden handpiece that works okay. Now what I would do is push this out. Treat it very carefully and put it in my tinder bundle and start my fire with that. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
You've seen me do that a few times, haven't you?
Right.
Okay, well, I wish I'd have rocked that around a little bit more. I got kind of carried away with the pressure and forgot about my handpiece, but it's not too bad. I could clean that up again, smooth it a little bit and use it again, or I think I'll just put the dime in it.
You can see the red come and go.
Can you see the red come and go?
Mm-hmm.
It'll last there for a few minutes while we transfer it to our tinder bundle.
Okay.
Okay, well, thank you.